This will be taken by Preeti Pansalkar, Group CHRO, Bharatiya Group. She is a seasoned HR leader with over 28 years of experience in leading talent strategies and driving people agendas across diverse industries, including manufacturing, fashion, real estate, product, edtech, telecom, and Indian ITs. Also, she played a key role in implementing structured HR practices, aligning global strategies with local priorities, and managing organizational growth through mergers and acquisition. Can we have a huge round of applause for Preeti Pansalkar?
See what best I can do. Firstly, Gain Skills, thank you for having me here today, and of course all the sponsors. It's always great to go back and give what you learn, what you experience back into a larger group. That's been something that I enjoy doing. Not that I enjoy a one-sided conversation, but I think that's the way we will do it today. We will probably run through a few ideas, and then at the end of the session, we'll keep some questions. This is the topic that, I kind of felt interested when Gain Skills reached out to me. This is the way things are. And when we look at leadership redefined, what does it mean? All of us, many of you who have kind of more than 25 years experience here, would have understood what is leadership. We always know boss is always right. Boss knows everything. Boss is the person to go to. And he has all the information, all the knowledge, everything that, all of us believed. So did I. All my, bosses, whoever I learned from and why I stand here today, but that's changing. That is not going to work as we go in the world of AI. It is never going to be boss is going to know. So that's the topic that I felt interested, because that's the mind shift change that we all have to bring as we move on. It's not anymore about boss. Okay. So what's happening? The world has shifted. It's already there. Many of you sitting in the room already intellectually understand what is AI. We all know, we all talk about it. Seems like a buzzword today. Every conference, every leadership meet, every CXO meet, this is the buzzword. Is it real? It is real. When is it going to happen? We don't know. So if you look at it that way, this is not a technology upgrade. When internet came in, when Google started, we all went through that. That was all a technology upgrade. The change that is going to happen now is a mindset shift. All of us, including me, I'm still learning in the game, but it's a mind shift, completely mind shift change. Every decision making is going to not be based on what my experience was in the past. It's only going to add value, but it's not going to be the way it is going to. Some of the data points, if you see today, there's a company I kind of read very interesting, Sanofi. It's a pharma company. It's not a tech company. Houses close to about 90,000 headcount as of about Jan. That company is a pharma company where almost 23,000 employees in their company use AI. And on an average, 9,000 of their employees daily use AI. What does this mean from a GDP perspective? 2030, the GDP is globally going to be 15 trillion, which is as good as a combined economy of India and China. Now, what does that mean? It's not going to replace jobs. That's another buzzword these days. So jobs are going to go away. It's going to be replacing. No. What it's going to do is how are you going to individually upgrade yourself in your mind shift. It's not anymore about upgrading skills, upgrading things. It's all about your mindset shift. And hence, I think what the CEO of the company said very clearly is we don't have a choice. It is the hesitation tax that's going to really build all the people in this room, including me. As leaders, we will have to think in that direction. It's not anymore about what do I do, what skill do I build on. No, it's not going to be all of that. So what is it going to be? What was the boss model? Knowledge hoarding. Our bosses had all the information. They had everything that they wanted, and we believed our bosses were the best. They knew everything. So did I. They had direct control. They had absolutely approval gate culture. I'm sure all of you who have grown in your own careers have lived through it. We always went to our leaders. There's a delegation of authority that exists in the system. And that approval gate culture really, really worked. A lot of companies grew. You look at any of these IT companies, whether it was Infosys or Pepsi, where Indra grew it from 35 to 63 billion. All these are numbers, but they followed an approval gate culture that worked. For all of us sitting in this room, it worked. What is it going to not be from now on until and unless we decide to make that mind shift change is about now context and sense making. It's very difficult. It is not easy. Approval gate culture was much more easy. Directive control was much more easy. We were clear what we wanted and we could say that this is how it has to be. That's not going to be the way it is going to be. And until and unless all leaders in this room make that mind shift, things will not move forward. They'll remain as they are. Enabling the entire piece of autonomy, safe experiment. It's okay to fail. We all learned it. I led my teams to make sure that they were allowed to freely experiment. They were allowed to make mistakes. I still remember every trainee who would join in my organization, I would say for 1 year, sare galtiyan maaf. As many mistakes you want to make. But after 1 year, I said, I'm going to take you to task. But the first 1 year, experiment, have your autonomy, do what you want, but experiment to see the intent of the organization is where it is. Every new joinee, every fresher, every person has to know the business. HR will not be able to walk the talk if they are not aligned to business. Hence, the fresher also, a middle manager, a senior leader, and a CHRO who has to partner with the business, has to walk alongside. Gone are the days where the CFOs and CHROs had to battle about numbers. Today, CHROs also have learned the game of numbers. It's no more about not understanding numbers. Outcomes and growth. Everything is going to be measured in growth. Today, in my organization, I'm reinventing my entire incentive structure for my sales team, which is completely growth-based, completely rewarding, and with which automatic retention happens. We're doing away with the notice period scheme itself. Why do you need a notice period? You don't need. You just have a limit of max 90 days and you kill it. Why do you need it? So some of those revolutionary changes will have to come. HR cannot lead the traditional thinking anymore. So all that is important. Where will it begin from? With a mindset shift. That's how it is. And hence, I really relate to this McKinsey's comment that traditional command and control approaches are likely to fall flat, which means it's not eventually going to fail. It's going to fall flat. That's the key. So what does it mean? What is it happening with our teams? I want to target about the first ones, which are the younger ones. The younger generation today has been brought up in an environment where they lived through the tools. Google existed for them. For us, Google didn't exist. So the search is all on the tip of a phone. They've lived through their life. They have been robbed by the discomfort of the ability of what we have been doing. So what do? When you ask them to work on something, they take the AI, they use Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, ChatGPT, you name it, and there's a tool today. They go there, they look at the output, and they present it. They're really approval hungry today. They want that. So then what does the boss like me do? Ask questions. They go blank. They just go blank. They don't know what to say. So they go back with a feeling, either that tool is useless or the boss has been unfair. Boss doesn't get it, nor this tool is useful. And what happens? There's no learning. The cycle continues. Time flows. And end of the day, certain trainees, freshers, mid-level managers move to become cynical, for the lack of a good word. Then they start commenting, but they don't realize what is it that's missing, likewise the managers as well. So the whole purpose of making them feel reflective, understand what they need to do, is gone down the drain. So what is the missing struggle? What are they feeling there? And this applies to everybody, including me. I'm sure in my middle stage of career, my bosses were stricter. Those days we didn't have concepts of coaching and mentoring. Today we have. So what does that do? And it's a very interesting quote from Indra, which is where I want to kind of relate to. She talks about when you assume negative intent, you're angry. If you take away that anger and assume positive intent, you'll be amazed. Your emotional quotient goes up because you're no longer random in your response. What does this relate to? It relates to a very simple thing, and that's the key mind shift that needs to be brought in among all of us in this room. AI can write, it can draft emails, it can design, it can code, it can analyze, it can summarize, and it can probably generate a next probable answer. That's all AI can do. What the right side column, which is about humans, is your new job description. That is exactly what needs to be done. You need to set aspirations. You need to take tough calls under pressure. You know, to build trust across all your stakeholders. You have to make people accountable and also help generate new ideas. Now, all this is, nicely written down. It's very tough to practice. I have not been able to do all 5. It's tough. Leaders who thrive using AI to think with them and not for them is the way it's going to be. And McKinsey has already talked about it. What does this mean? Which means I use AI tool, I generate what I have to think about it. I, of course, have enough research material today. Use all of that, but apply your thinking. That is the most important part of this whole game of AI. Otherwise, we will remain where we are, and the pressures also will remain where they are, and it worries me. 3 to 4 years from now, 50-60% of this work. The other part is it's very exciting, which means I don't have to do monotonous work, which means I have to not sit and evaluate multiple Excel sheets, which we have done. I used to manage compensation and benefits for one of the organizations I worked. Those days, Excel had only 36,000 rows. So we had to maintain 4 files because we had to look at 4 different regions: APAC, EMEA, India, US, and America. We had no choice. But today, you can upload data, you can... that guy about, Paul, who's the CEO in Sanofi, he, I think, picked up some 239 lakh records and uploaded it. It was the customer feedback. And from there, it gave analysis of what's something that they need to look at as an organization. 239,000 records for one instance. That's the beauty of AI. It'll give you so much of analysis, but that's where your thinking has to come in. And that's why all of this is going to be very, very important as leaders for us. Having given that as a context, what is it that we need to do? Some basic things. We all have to ask these 3 questions. And I'm going to, not restrict it only to young minds. It is also equivalent to us as leaders as well as middle managers. Every time an individual uses the AI tool, let them use, please encourage. These days I see a trend among a lot of people, did you use ChatGPT? Did you use this for it? So what? If it's being used, great. It's widening the scope, widening the thinking, why not? But can I use it to benefit, or can I use it to just showcase myself that I'm a good, smart, intelligent person in the room? It doesn't work. Whenever a person uses the AI tool, just pause and ask them, what's your take before they go through the tool? Any idea, any HR research, any business model, any incentive plan, anything that they want to, just ask them before, which will help them force to start thinking. Then during the conversation, explain it to them simply. Listen, I'm totally novice, and I do that most of the time with my middle manager. I said, I'm absolutely, no knowledge person. I have no experience. Teach me. There's a difference. We're not asking them to present it. We're asking them to teach, which is when you want to say in all our lives, be it at home, when we understand a concept clearly, we teach. We don't present. So let them teach us. And that's the new norm which every leader has to bring in. And when they teach, even if it is for 2 minutes, they will think. And that's what is the key for this whole roadmap of AI. And that's something that as a boss, as a manager, as a coach, we need to do. And then slowly, after they would have explained, ask them what will they do differently next time. Will they do the same thing? Will they pause before jumping into an AI tool? Or will they think for 2 minutes and then go? See, with AI, the danger is if you don't frame your question correctly, it can give you an output which is actually incorrect for the proposal that you're making. Any business proposal, any presentation. So framing of the question is very important. If I want the AI tool to say what I liked it to say, I can still get it done. It has humongous data. It can exactly present what you want, but you must know what you want. That's very important. So, she said that, Indra, when she said, and this is again a very, very reverse strategy, which Indra did, and that's why I'm presenting here 2 areas. Most of the leaders, what they do is, if a person comes and proposes, there's a conversation that happens, and I'll give you my own experience with one of my middle managers. He came in with a simple thing like this. Me being me, initial first conversation surely was impatient like any leader because I was irritated, why is he using a tool when he can use his brains? So I said, okay, you tell me what you want to say. So he explained, obviously like the previous slide I told you, he went blank because he didn't know what he was explaining. So I just paused him and I said, look, forget all this for a moment. Tell me what is your pure thinking on this topic. We were discussing about an onboarding program for our new joinees, and I didn't want the traditional onboarding model. So he said, okay, I want to do it this way. So I said, now you go ask the tool, what is it going to do? And I said, before you ask the tool, just pause for a moment and explain to me, what if the tool is saying everything correctly to you or not? Are you missing anything? These probing questions will at least make them pause and think. So the person went back, he did his. The other one said, I can't think. The younger person, because she is so used to tools, she said, I can't think. You tell me, what do I do? That is where I must say it's very difficult to be very patient. Because we are all, experienced, we feel we are all aware, we know everything, we do exactly what we want to do. Tendency is to react. Tendency is to quickly say, get this done. I mean, don't you know so much? Tendencies are like that. So what do? You let them first think. You let them first go back. It takes courage as a leader to encourage your teams to go and find the solutions. We know all the solutions, but please encourage them. Encourage them to go find their solutions. It's okay if they go wrong. You're there anyway to back them. But let them experiment. It will help me also as a leader because I'm learning in the process. The other one said, I can't think. I don't know what to do. I don't know where can I find answers. I said, go mentor. Go to your middle manager, go find out, talk to them on the concept, learn from them. And that's how, the entire aspect of before the tool, the teach me, and the safe reps. The safe reps is where, if you want a takeaway from this conversation, that's the one to really follow. Because that's the one that will explain, ensure that they need to do this. Likewise, any person who's going to present, please ask them to do a rehearsal with you so that you reveal. Again, there, you're not to give feedback. You're only going to ask questions. No verdicts, no feedback, just simple, plain, probing questions. That's all will lead at least the person to start thinking because our generations today have forgotten what it is to think. So again, I went by what HBR has talked about AI. This is about the key 5 skills that we all need to build in ourselves as leaders. These are all non-technical. This has nothing to do with technology. This is plain, simple behaviors. AI fluency, like I said, have those conversations, but please remember, the AI output is not necessarily the same. You need to know exactly what you're looking for. Org redesign. This is one most debated topic in the entire HR circles today. Anything which is monotonous, anything which is routine, anything which is going to be exactly, example, shared services work, all can be done by systems today. I had a girl who I hired recently, I hired her, very good girl. She was excellent when it comes to the entire HR backend function without recruitment. Right from joining to exit to payroll, she was excellent. Eye for detail. Any competency that we expect as leaders, she had it. But she said, I still want to do recruitment. So I said, listen, your competence, your everything suits more for an HR role, less for recruitment. Recruitment is what? Only numbers. Though, I mean, I know it's much more than that, but I said, it's all numbers. Do you get a sense of achievement by achieving those numbers? She said, no. What you are expecting me to do, in 5 years, your systems will do this for you. Recruitment, part 1 of screening will be done by systems, but the fact that a human has to still evaluate will remain, and I don't want to become redundant in 5 years. This is an 8-year experienced young girl talking. She's, of course, part of my organization now. I mean, brilliant thinking. I hired her, of course, but she was able to think for future. That's the key. Now, how I encourage her, how I give her autonomy, and how I enable her is going to be her success. I will to retire in 7-8 years, or maybe earlier. But then this is how you have to start nurturing people and become a coach. That's the shift that will happen now. It's not anymore about being a boss and showing your authority and power and hoard information. It is all about mindset shift now. The early you do it, the better you are. This is not to panic. This is not a doomsday. In decades, once in a few decades, this happens. Every few decades, it happens. How quickly we adapt to it, how open we are about it, will be the mindset shift change that we bring in ourselves. You may do one thing at a time, it's okay. But please do it. That's the difference. And that's why I got very impressed with Scott Gallo, who's the professor in New York University. Amazing. He speaks about what AI will never do. Empathy, authenticity, genuineness, being yourself. This is going to be the key. How clear and frank are you with your team? How genuine are you with your team is the differentiating factor. And that AI cannot do for you. So what next? This is about, as we spoke so many things, this is one behavior I want you to leave with a thought. From tomorrow, just one habit, one question, and one conversation. Please do it with anybody. Even it can start from home. All you have to do is shift the mindset by saying, if somebody is telling you that AI does this, stop them and ask them, okay, what do we need to do? How do we need to do? Please probe them. But allow them to partner with AI tools, not scare them with AI tools. Allow them and say, okay, let's work together. So use the AI tools for the analysis, for the data that you have, and let the teams find their solutions. When you have a conversation, there is a moment of pause. We as leaders want to then say, oh, yeah, this person is not doing well. Let me reduce his job responsibilities. Let me protect him. Let me be safe with him. Let me do this. We all tend to lower the person's responsibilities. We all tend to do all of that in our organization. Please don't do that. Push them for their capabilities. Let them struggle a bit. It's okay. We all struggled. We didn't play marbles to reach here. We all put a lot of efforts. So please allow that. Let them experiment. The key is be patient when they're experimenting. Our tendency, including mine some years, was to jump in and say, do this. Because I was impatient, I didn't want to spend too much of time explaining. Let it happen. And I'm telling you, in my own experience, I've seen they come up with such brilliant solutions which are faster, easier to deploy, rather than we going through the traditional way of doing why we do what we do. So start with a habit, just one change within yourself. Don't have to do multiple changes. One conversation, at least every month, lead one conversation which will help an individual scale up his thinking. Because as times come, all of us are going to get addicted to these tools. For example, I experimented this presentation today. I said, let me finish research, everything I've done. I uploaded this presentation on ChatGPT. And I said, help me analyze with questions. So it gave me some answers. Everything was absolutely right. The experience part was missing. And that's where I think the knack is. It will give you everything. Accountabilities will remain with you. Everything will remain with you. So I just want to leave you with some thoughts today. We are all learning in the game. We are all wanting to be better coaches and lesser bosses. Yes, when times come, you have to play the role of a boss also. End of the day, it's revenue that matters. But at least make that effort, be it with colleagues, be it with peers, be it with subordinates, be it with supervisors, be it with your own managers as well. They will tell you something, direct you something, fair enough, but please go back. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Experiment, do everything possible because the new age is going to be this. And every HR leader needs to think differently now and not anymore the traditional way. The ones who change that are the ones to thrive, are the ones to stay 5 years from now. That's it. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has.
Every India. So I had a career break about 2 years. So when I stepped into this new career, I mean, I had a break, right? So I didn't know much about this AI and all those things, right? So when I got back and even before I joining the organization, I happened to venture into the people who were working with the Datalyzer and trying to check more about them. They had a very nice write-up in the LinkedIn, right? The way they express themselves, the beat, what are their skills and what are their strengths. No? It was very extremely well. So I was very impressed. But my experience completely changed when I started interacting with them, right? Because what they showcase in LinkedIn is not, I mean, forget about the very high level, right? I mean, the basic things they were lacking, right? Even today I see, even if they have to ping somebody, have to ask the basic questions, they look up to ChatGPT, right? So I think, where will this lead to, like, maybe they can use this for, for gaining additional knowledge, like, giving a better ideas. But I think they will lack the basic things, right? So that's my only worry is, like, because ultimately even they do not have the courage to face people, the talk in front of the larger audience, because for everything they're dependent on the AI tool that is available.
Yeah. I hope I'm getting right with your question. Let's accept today all the profiles that come, they're all aligned to JDs. Most of the profiles, almost 80% of the CVs that come in, the JD is picked up. If you see today, consultants, recruiters, everybody has this fancy JD, send the JD. Right? They pick up the JD, they put it on the tool, they expect the resume to be converted to the JD using keywords of Naukri or using keywords of LinkedIn. 80% profiles today hold that. But that's where the AI tool also can add value, is where you look at the tools, instruct the AI thing for the first level screening to remove all the keywords, look at references of the past, the tool can provide. ChatGPT's license tool can do all of that for you. Or even Claude, or Perplexity, or Copilot as well. All of these tools are available. How you use them, how you leverage is the key. And true to itself, I mean, the recruitment, I mean, when Naukri was there, we all still did hiring. I was in Infosys, we used to do 1,000 hirings a day. We still did without a Naukri. It happened. I remember one of my recruitment team, Monday were all hassled all over the place. I said, what happened? They said, Naukri is down today. I said, Naukri is down, so what? They couldn't function. They couldn't function. Now you have to be able to probe them and say, listen, click. That's where the efforts of a leader comes in, is where you tell them what to do, but leave them. This generation, or even the middle managers, I have a middle manager who's an AVP, but still uses ChatGPT, even to draft emails, day-to-day emails. So, there are advantages and disadvantages. How, as a manager, do you coach them to see the relevance of those tools is the key. Young generation today in my own team, I've hired recently from PES and I've hired from Christ College for young minds, enthusiastic, energetic, want to achieve the world. And they believe that manager doesn't understand because he doesn't use. They believe the tool more than the manager. So that's the truth. But how can I use that to make them think is the key? And it's going to be a lot of patience. Trust me about it. I'm dealing with it day and day out. Not easy. But yeah, I can't lose my patience because that's where they have to learn. And systems and tools to be used so that your JDs are more elaborate and not limited to tasks. That also has to change. No, notice period, okay, that's not a purview of this topic, but yeah. So, I have been someone who always felt that if there is a need for notice period, why do you need it? Because the person is anyway 50% unproductive in his notice period. So we said that we will give them a window. It's the manager's discretion based on the work that needs to be contributed. And no matter what, no employee can stay longer than 90 days. So there's no question of me giving them any basic pay or nor am I taking anything. It's purely work-based with a limit of not exceeding 90 days. So I can make them leave in 1 week, I can make them leave in 2 months, doesn't matter. So long as work focus is there. It's a little not the traditional way of doing it, but I think it works for us. It benefits both the employee as well as me. Are we on time? Last questions? Okay, any more questions? How do you motivate Gen Z? Very interesting question. I'm sure you have kids at home who are in the same age bracket of 20. Learning starts from there. How I deal with my daughter, how I deal with my son is the way it's going to be. It's a tough thing. They neither believe, I've always told this to my friends, there is a time when kids form, till they are 8 or 9, they believe that my dad knows everything. When 9 to, 21, 25, they say my dad knows little. And when they reach 35, they come back, my dad knows nothing from 24, 25 to 35. And maybe after 35 or late 30s, they understand my dad knows everything. So you have to evaluate which stage are you as your dad among these 3 stages, and then put the cue there, because that's the only way. I have my friends' children, I have my nieces and nephews. They don't know what it is to write. They tell, why do you need to print a paper? And she's doing her internship today. I said, when you're writing, you're meeting your boss, write down at least what he's saying. She doesn't believe. She says, I'll remember what is important. So that's a generation which has lived through searches. They don't know what it is beyond search. And now they have these tools, fantastic tools where they just click. I met a fresher in an interview. She didn't know what's the full form of MBA. She said, no, I don't know what's MBA. I did MBM, which is Management of Business. I was shocked out of my wits, saying they know MBA full form. So the efforts have to be put in. You have to encourage them multiple times, but in the direction that they understand, not in the way we understand. It doesn't work. This is the generation. They are going to be your future CHROs 20 years from now. They better be encouraged. Anything else? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I would request you to please be on the stage. And now I would like to call upon stage Gerald Santos, Director HR from Aero Electronics, to felicitate ma'am. Can we have a huge round of applause, please?